So hello guys, my name is Aditya and today we are starting with the first video of Pandas library. So why Pandas? See, Pandas is mostly used to work with datasets, okay? The datasets may be in some CSV or maybe some Excel or maybe some text files. So we take those datasets from those files into a data frame and then we work on it, okay? We work on the data frame with quite ease. So let's just see what is a data frame first of all. So a data frame is simply a table. It has some rows and some columns. So a table may be regarded as a data frame in Pandas. And what is a series? A series is simply a list. Okay. In other words, it can be said that the columns of a data frame is a series, or maybe the rows of a data frame is a series. So a single list is a series. Okay, so let me just start by creating our own data frame. Okay, let's say that df is my data frame, and this is, first of all, we need to import pandas. So, and in Jupyter and Spider, the pandas is pre-installed, but if you don't have uh, if you're using some another Python compiler and you don't have pandas installed, this is the command to install pandas. You can easily install pandas from here. Okay, pip install pandas. Now so first we need to import pandas. You can simply import pandas and you can import it as an alias as well. So import pandas as pd. This is what generally people do. Okay, now pd will take the place of pandas everywhere. Okay, so df is assigned to, df is our variable where we want to keep our data frame, right? pd dot data frame. So this is how we create a data frame, and inside it we can give values like, first, this is the column name. Okay, let's say a is the column name and it has values 24 and let's say 34, and again we have b as the column name and it has values, let's say 36 and 67. So what if we run this, and we need to print df as well to view the result, right? See, a is the column name and it has values 24 and 34, right? 24 and 34. b is the another column and it has value 36 and 67, 36 and 67. Now you can also see, this is how you name a column and give values to it. You can also rename the rows as well. Okay, the rows are called index. Let's say I want to write row 1 and row 2. So row 1 and row 2, right? So this is how we actually create a data frame. See, this is just like a table, right? It has some rows and it has some columns, right? It has some columns. So this is a data frame. Now a single row or maybe a single column of a data frame is a series. We can also define series in our own way. My series is assigned to pd dot series, right? And what we can do is we can write 24, 34 and let's say 54. And what we can do is we can give the name of the series as well. Name, let's say I want to write just like ser. Okay, ser is the name of the series. And let's first run this, then I'll show you. Okay, I need to print it as well, my series. So this is my series. It is of type int 64. This is a type in Python, right? Int of 64 bits, and ser is the name of this series. What if we want to rename the row names? We can do it in a similar way. We can just write index and we can just write r1 and r2 and then r3. So here is the row names are renamed. Okay, the rows are renamed. Now this was a brief introduction to data frame and series. I hope you understood what is a data frame and what is a series, and we'll be seeing how it can be actually useful when importing some data. Okay, so for that purpose I have given the link of three data sets that I'll be using here. One is the CSV dataset, one is Excel dataset, and the other one is text dataset. So I have listed all those in the description below. You can download it from there and place it in the same location wherever you are currently working. Okay, now so first let's start with the CSV. So what we can do is, let's just give it as data1 pd dot data frame, not data frame. See, we have to use read CSV because we are reading a CSV, right? CSV, and what this will return is, this will return a data frame of whatever we are reading here. Okay, so iris dot CSV. Okay, so we'll be reading the iris dataset, and let's just see data1 dot head. This head command is to view the first few rows of a data frame. Okay, this head command is used to view the first few rows. By default the head command prints the first 5 rows. We can change the number as well. If you want to view this first 7 rows, we can write 7 here. Okay, so let's just see what it prints. So this is what it is printing, and it is well and good, right? So this is how you can read a CSV file. Okay, and if you want to view the first few rows, you can view it this way. Okay, now uh, now what if you want to view how many number of rows and columns does it have? Okay, now for that we can write data1 dot shape. It returns a tuple. Okay, a tuple of two variables where the first variable a tuple of two values where the first value is the number of rows and the second value is the number of columns. Remember that first value is the number of rows and second value is the number of columns. We have 5 columns here, 1 2 3 4 5, right? And there are 150 rows. What if you want to see the last few values of a column, right? So what we can do is data1 dot tail, and it will give us the last 5 rows of this data frame. The last 5 rows, it goes from 0 to 149, so clearly there are 150 rows, right? So if you want, you can also give, like, if you want to view only the last 2 rows, then you can give your 2, so last 2 rows, right? If you want to view the last 7 rows, then you can give your 7, and so on. Okay, this is how you read a CSV file. Now let's talk about reading Excel file. Okay, so let's say data2 is assigned to pd dot read excel Excel. The Excel file I have kept in the same location is called book2 dot xlsx. This is how Excel file is, the extension of the Excel file, right? And if I want to print data2 dot head, it is a big file, so it will take some time. Not much time. So this is it, right? So actually this file has 30 years of data, hourly data. Okay, 30 years of hourly data of the minimum temperature of that hour and the maximum temperature of that hour. Okay, along with the base temperature. So it can be used for some analysis. We'll see it later. Now our main objective is to how to read some data from a file. Okay, so similar way we can use the head here, like head to, not here. I don't want to read this data again. Let's see, data2 dot head. Let's say if I just write 2, then it will give me the 2 rows. Okay, now a similar way we can get the shape. Let's see how many rows and columns does it have. Data2 dot shape. Okay, so it has 4 columns clearly, 1 2 3 and 4, and it has nearly 2,71,728 number of rows. That is too huge. Okay, so that is why it was taking a long time to read. Okay, now in similar way we can view the the last few rows, like data2 dot tail. Okay, this is the command to view the the last few rows. Okay, now the last thing that is remaining is how can we read a text file, right? We have already read a CSV file here, CSV comma separated values, and we have read a Excel file, and now we'll be reading a text file. So for reading a text file, we can simply use the read CSV command, okay, even if it is a text file. So what we can do is data3 is assigned to pd dot read CSV. There can be other methods as well, but this method is quite easy, and see, you don't need to remember much, right? Because read CSV will do your job for both the CSV and the text file, so it's easy. So linear regression data dot txt. Let us just see what does it print. Data3 dot head. So see, at the first time it did not read correct because there was no comma between these values, and see, CSV clearly means that it is comma separated values, right? In Excel, each of the cells can be treated as different elements, so in that way it reads. But in the text file there are no cells. It is just a sequence of lines, right? So there is a slash t, that is a tab, okay, in between each of these values. See, you can also see it here, slash t slash t. So what we can do is we can give here a separator saying slash t. If it is separated by a single space, then you can give a single space in this way. Okay, in this way simply. Now slash t. So now it should read fine. See, it is reading fine, but again, see, we don't want that. See, this thing, I'll just show you. This is our first row, right? And here in our first row, it is actually, these are values, right? We don't these are not column names, these are values. So what if we want to ignore taking the column names from the data set? Okay, what we can do is header is none. That means we don't want any header here. Okay, we don't want the column names to be taken from the text file itself. So well and good, right? The header went off and this became the first value. Okay, the first row. Now what if we want to manually assign the column names? Then what we can do is data3 dot columns. We can just write col1 and col2 and then column 3, and again let's see, data3 dot head. Well and good, right? So in similar ways we can change the column names whenever we want for any data set. Okay, for changing the row names you can use index as the variable, right? And that's it. So if you want to get the shape, I mean how many number of rows and how many number of columns does it have, then you can simply use dot shape. So it has 200 rows and clearly there are 3 columns, right? So it has 200 rows. If you want to see the last few, then you can use data3 dot tail. Okay, so this was all for today. what we have learned, what is a data frame in a series. The data frame looks somewhat like this and a series looks somewhat like this. Data frame is nearly like a table and series is a list. Okay, and we also created our own data frame and our own series. Now we also read some real data sets like the IRIS dataset, the book2 Excel dataset, and the text dataset, right? And we also know that how many number of rows and columns those datasets has. And also we also saw how we can view the first few rows and the last few rows of a dataset. Okay, so the remaining portion will be continuing in the next video. So for now, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day ahead. If you actually like the video, hit the like and the subscribe button. So bye bye.